Why hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Sally and this is Sally Stitches and a channel primarily about cross stitching, but also about other hobbies I enjoy, including knitting, crocheting, going to antique stores and having a lot of fun, and going to retreats and, you know, whatever is suiting my fancy at the time. If you are new here, thanks for joining me. I will be doing a lot of talking and kind of like imagining that you're here in my living room with me. So I hope you enjoy that. Grab something to work on and, you know, just sit and relax. I've had a busy couple weeks. I just returned from the 141 Pep Rally, which is hosted by Chantel's 141 in Williamston, Michigan, and I had a blast. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the sweatshirt they gave us. And that's going to be kind of a hint about the theme of the Pep Rally, which was Christmas stitching. So they had a guest designer. The guest designer was stitching with the Housewives, and we had a project that we pre-stitched before going, and then we brought it there and we had finishing fun right there at the retreat. There are some lovely restaurants. I had delicious meals. Every meal I ate. I got to spend some time with some friends that I hadn't seen in a couple years. I got to make some new friends. I got to meet some of you know, so special shout out to Michelle from New Mexico and from Kelly, who I, you know, just really adore. It was really nice to meet you both in person. And I just, you know, had a blast. So today, Sally Stitches and recaps the retreat. So the thing that I really wanted to do, but I didn't want to be intrusive, and I kind of wanted to like just be present in the moment, but I wanted to get a little bit of a vlog going during this retreat. And so I took about, you know, 5 minutes of footage of just kind of sights and sounds I saw, you know. I edited it out and did a voiceover because I didn't want people to feel like their private conversations were being posted all over YouTube. So don't worry if, you know, you happen to see me filming while you were there. But I'm going to show you that first today, and it's about 5 minutes long. I have a lot of like stitching pieces that I show during this little video, and my camera moves around a lot because there was a lot to see. So if you're someone who gets motion sick, start focusing on your project and enjoy the Mr. Rogers-like music that I chose as a soundtrack for that. So see you back in a couple minutes now. Good morning. It's 5:30 and I'm heading to my retreat. I am leaving a lot of things like half done, like this fence that is being installed at our house. It's gonna look super nice. I'm really excited about it. But I wanna hit the road and I'm very excited. See you there. And after about an hour and a half drive, I made it, and it took absolutely no time to get settled in. The retreat venue is very close to the 141 Design Company shop, which is opening next month. I took a really brief video, but it was very busy. And then I went back to the venue site where some vendors had set up some really beautiful products for us to shop, just kind of in between our stitches. I'm going to show you what each vendor brought here. So I'm waking up the next day. It's pretty foggy out, Saturday morning. Oh my goodness, I was so tired. And I just kind of came back to the hotel room at 9 and went to bed immediately. So I'm getting ready to go back. It starts in about a half hour. So I'm gonna get cleaned up and go eat some breakfast and stuff. But before I leave the room, I want to press these 3 pieces one more time because we're gonna do our finishing exercise this afternoon. It's exciting. I want to show you what else I have for the retreat. So this is my little like giveaway thing that I made, and I'll show you how I made these because these are pretty fun. But they're little needle books. I made 30 of them, and so just if anyone ever like comes to the table with a little gift, I've got a little gift to give back. Plus I have some for some friends, and so that's fun right there. Let's show you around the stitching room. First off, we had a raffle set up in one corner that benefits a local homeless community resource. And then stitching with the Housewives, our guest designers put a lovely display of many of their patterns along one side of the room. I don't really know much about them as a design company. I hadn't stitched any of their designs before, but I see a lot of things that I want to stitch. Ooh, like that one over there. Let me be quiet now for a few moments so you can just see everything as I recorded it. And from this angle, you can really see why this is called a Pep Rally. We're in a refurbished gym. The Smalls Exchange had so many participants. Look at all these bags. And look what people made. All sorts of lovely presents for each other. I love how generous the stitching community can be. And I have to show you the brag zone. This is where people brought some pieces from home that they could share with others. I just thought these Satsuma Street chickens were fantastic. Oh my gosh, they have something funny on each one. So many talented stitchers here. So I thought I'd share some sights and sounds from this retreat. If you get a chance to go next year, I highly recommend it. It's very chill, very relaxing, and I didn't even mention the antique store that's only like a mile away. That's all I'm gonna say about that though. So let's talk a little bit about cross-stitch projects I've worked on recently. So at retreats, I think it's really fun to start a new project, and that is the project that I kind of take back home with me as a souvenir. And I started one, and I've been working on it pretty steadily ever since the retreat was over. And because I use the Markup RXP tracking app on my iPad, I know that I just hit about 80% done on this. So it's going to be finished really quickly. Are you ready? Ta-da! Look how cute this is. So this is called Night Terrarium. The artist or designer is Tiny Modernist. I'm stitching this on 40 count fabric over 2 threads, so it's like a 20 count piece. And I am using DMC flosses for this. The fabric I'm using is a club fabric by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. It is called Thundercloud, and it is really perfect for this. I just am really pleased with how the colors are popping on this. I'm really happy with how tiny it is. It's like small, like my hand size. I think I measured it at about 4 inches wide, and then maybe it's gonna be about 5 inches tall. So my plans, help me. I'm gonna start using this video to compose a to-do list for myself this weekend. And the first thing that I want to do this weekend is I want to finish the stitching on this piece. And the reason I need to finish the stitching on this piece is because this terrarium is part of a series by Tiny Modernist, and I have a stitch along coming up. My friend, the Redheaded Stitcher, and I stitched the French Tier by Erin Elizabeth Designs this summer to celebrate the Olympics, and she reached out and she said, let's do a Halloween thing. And so we are gonna do a Halloween pattern, and that is Halloween Terrarium by Tiny Modernist. we're gonna start our stitch along on October 1st, so we get in the spooky season. I really am excited about that. Look at the little ghosts and the bats. If you want to join us, we're going to use Instagram to post photos of our progress. The Instagram hashtag we're going to use is TM for Tiny Modernist, Halloween Terrarium Sal. I want to show you what I've chosen to stitch on. What is up with this? It's so heavy. I think it's because this needle minder is on here. So I am stitching it on this 36 count fabric. This is called Jamie's Kilt by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I've stitched with Jamie's Kilt before. It's actually, believe it or not, the called for color for this fabric, but I think it looks super nice in real life. And I'm gonna use called for DMCs for this. So hopefully it's gonna go just as smoothly as the night terrarium, and then I'm gonna have like a little terrarium collection, which will be fun for me. So I started this at the retreat, and this was the project that I worked on most, but then there was another project that I finished at the retreat, and I'm beyond excited because this was a long time coming. Ta-da! This is Greetings from the National Parks by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And this is something I started when the pattern was released back in, I think, 2017. So, I mean, that was just yesterday, right? So I stitched it on the called for fabric, which is a 28 count Lugana dyed by Picture This Plus, and the color is called Spice. And I used DMC threads over 2 for this. And I just am so excited that I'm finished with it. And I'm excited for another reason. And the reason is that when I was at the retreat, I ended up picking up the perfect finishing product from Chantel's 141 Design Company so that I can finish this and it's gonna look spectacular. So let me kind of fuss with this a little bit. I'm doing this spontaneously. And so I'm not prepared. And also there's a lot of little pieces that I don't think I'm going to be able to hold together. But what I've done is I have very loosely wrapped this around a finishing board. So you kind of get the idea of the dimensions that it'll be once that I lace it to this board here. And this board fits this picture frame by Chantel's 141 Design Company. And this is 3 pieces, so they are not glued together. But let me show you. This is the frame that she designed for the Hugo Sal by Hands-On Design. And I am not going to be able to do it in person, you know, like very well, but you can kind of get an idea how well this is going to fit into this frame. The frame itself is 3 pieces. So there is the backer board, and then you can see there is an outline etched right into the board to put this little frame that'll go right around the cross stitch piece. And then there is another frame that is in the back. So let me try to put it back together so you can kind of get a sense of what it looks like. Like this, see? So I thought long and hard when I was, especially while I was at the shop in person looking at finishes, because there are some beautiful finishes that she's done with special paint effects. She's done chalkboard paint. She's done a lot of really cool things. She's even used stains on some of these finishing boards. And I thought about staining it because I thought it would be really fun to do that. But I've never stained anything before, and I'm a little mess averse with a new thing. Plus, I'd have to invest in like the stain and the staining tools. You know, I'm sure it's just like rags and like probably like a Costco size palette of paper towel, just based on how paint and stain goes in my house. I couldn't be fussed with it. And I ended up going by my old standby, which is flat acrylic paint. And this is what I got. So I ended up getting this from Michael's the other day. It's part of their folk art matte line. The color is called Real Brown. And I did a color match. And the reason I chose this color is it is like the exact same color as the brown that is in the design. So I'm going to paint the frame with this brown, and then I might go in with a little bit of a sanding block to kind of distress. It really depends on how it looks once the paint goes on. And then I will lace the piece, and then I will insert the piece in the little inset in the center, and then it'll be done. And then it'll be like something that's just part of my decorations through my house, and it'll be like it's always been done, which is funny because for a long time I didn't want to work on this piece. And the reason I didn't want to work on it is because when I started it, I didn't center it on the fabric. You can see that there is more fabric on this side than on this side, but at the time I'd only had this piece finished, and I didn't know if I was going to have enough time, like room on the other side to stitch the whole thing. And so I put this in a very, very extended timeout. And then this summer, when I finished the other national parks pattern that the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery has designed, I finally got it back out and I was like, it's time. And it is. So hey, while I was at the retreat, I learned about a product that is new to me that I just wanted to pass on because we used this for the finishing project at the retreat, and it's called Tight Bond Quick and Thick. And it is a glue that is good for multi-surfaces, so you can use it on wood and MDF board, and I'm going to use it on this board. What I'll probably do is I'll paint all pieces separately, and then I will glue them together after the paint has dried on this with this. And that's going to be helpful for me because previously I'd been using hot glue just because I'm kind of glue averse, and the hot glue does not hold the wooden pieces together. They ended up breaking apart and then I have to re-glue them. So I'm going to go back and tight bond all of my loose glue finishing boards from years and months ago. So I got a lot of finishing ideas for that. The other finishing project that I have to work on is the actual retreat piece. I did not finish it during the retreat and I brought it home. And I think that this is a good time for me to put another little insert in. On Monday this last week, I unpacked all of my craft bag to kind of just reset and get everything there. I have all of the gifts that people gave that I wanted to show and, you know, show gratitude for in my video. And then I also want to tell you why I am not finished with the Stitching with the Housewives retreat piece. And so let's put that right here. Hello. So it is Monday and I am unpacking my craft bag. I already have unpacked my clothing and gotten the laundry going, but I have this big mess on my dining room table, which is where we are right now. Hello. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the things that I brought to the retreat that I didn't actually touch. So I have my Arctic Animal Stitch Along by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And then in this bag, I have my Coffee and Eggs by the Artsy Housewife. I brought them with me and I did not use them. So we're just going to put those away. Now let's talk a little bit about the pre-stitching for the retreat. Now, as you remember, we had some pre-stitching patterns by the designers that were invited to the retreat, Stitching with the Housewives, Chelsea and Priscilla. And then they provided us a very, very cool finishing kit that I worked on at the retreat, but I did not finish. And I'm going to tell you why. So first off, let's look at the pieces. So here's number 1. Remember, I didn't finish it. And then number 2. And then number 3. I think they're super cute. So what we're using for these are available through Fat Quarter Shop, but they're pre-cut rounds. And then we have stuck batting to one side. And then we were provided additional layers of batting we could use if we needed to bulk them up. And then we were given like the next diameter up. See how there's like a difference in diameter? And then some of the gingham fabric that is part of the Stitching with the Housewives line. And then what we're doing is we're covering these discs with that fabric, and then that's creating a really cool contrast border. And then that whole round ends up being put on one of these Chantel's 141 ornament blanks. And these have been pre-painted for us in this really pretty red. So we've got an ornament that is kind of like a big pear shape, I guess. And then one with a little finial on the bottom. Sorry about the glare. And then one of these. It's kind of more square. Now, let me tell you why I didn't finish these. So I did use the provided fabric, and if you guys would recall, I was having some difficulty with it. I also noticed a little bit that when I was working with it, after I would press it, it would shrink a little bit under the hot iron. And when that happened, I was trying to reblock it so that it was the same dimensions as, you know, what was called for, because I didn't want to mess it up. But I think I maybe got a little more aggressive with the blocking than I meant to, because with these, you can really see how the stitches are kind of flowing all the way to the edge. And this is how I did it in the back. I do kind of like a bicycle spoke chaos lacing. This one right here too, there's even a stitch that made it right on the back. My concern was that the last pattern, Dear Santa, was probably the worst one. Here, if I cover it with the circle, you can kind of see how much of it gets cut off. Now you can accommodate this by adding lots of layers of batting. That will bulk the circle up, but I really kind of was surprised because I was expecting this maybe to be a square because of just the pattern, the way it's laid out. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a piece of mat board from my stash in more of a square, maybe with rounded corners. And then I will affix it to this ornament blank, which is the widest ornament blank, so that it looks nice. And then I can cut a slightly larger square for the provided gingham fabric, and then that'll be good. And then as far as these go, I could cut some bigger circles and then just refinish these. And so that's the thing I'm playing with. The other thing that they provided in the kit were some beautiful ribbons. These are also from their product line at the Fat Quarter Shop. Some covered buttons with the covered button kit. I made one. I didn't make a lot of them, but I've got some fun things. And then some faux greenery. And it was really kind of like, you know, it was something that was all like definitely something that could be completed at the retreat. I think that I learned that I need more time to just work on things, to do some ironing, and just to kind of think about how I want to move forward. And so, you know, I am glad that I got to see how it was done and watch other people do it, so that when I complete it at home in the next couple days, I'm going to be really happy with it. One thing I did, just because my son really likes this kind of material and he's just going to like pull all the little needles off of these, is I ended up purchasing some felt mistletoe by Benzie Design, which I'll put a little picture on the screen here. And so that'll be replacing this greenery. And then the other thing is, because I didn't make my covered buttons at the retreat and I don't have the covered button mold for this size, I was having a hard time. I've never made covered buttons this small before. I have some really cute Christmassy charms that my aunt made out of clay. She used to run a cross-stitch business and she gave me all of her different charms. And so I think that that would be a really fun way to personalize this project. And boy, what a nice project for a retreat. Aren't they cute? They also designed a fourth pattern for this that is very similar. It uses all the same floss colors and it uses a Santa that's kind of similar, but it's a different layout. And Chantel, as a bonus, gave us one of these kits. This is one of her skinny rectangles. So you can see there's the base, and then you can put the cross-stitch piece on here. And I am definitely going to stitch that. I have a lot of fabric at home that I can choose, and I think it's going to look really nice. So very, very fun project. So first off, let me try to sort it out. I had something that I gave out at the retreat, and that is these little needle books. Now, there's different patterns on the fronts and the backs, and then you use this yarn closure. And then when you open it up, there are some felt pages for your needles. I'm going to try to make up a tutorial to show you how I make these. They're really easy. They're really good for like if you're someone who likes to do assembly line sewing, because I did 30 of these in a sitting on Saturday right before the retreat, because I'm a last minute person. And then I gave these out. I didn't have enough for everyone at the retreat, but it was something that was nice to have in my hand in case someone came to the table and had something to give to me. And so that's what I gave out. And I only had one left, and that's this one right here. This is all the stuff that people gave me. And I'm just gonna kind of dump it out here, and then we'll kind of go through it. Oops, I just bumped it, sorry. So I got a cool floss ring from Nana K, or a wristlet or something. You can put a lot of things on that. You could use that as a scissor fob. Stitch by the Brook had these really cool sticker packs. There's something in here that, oh, it's the ring. So, and floss drops. I wasn't at the table when the person that dropped this off, so I'm so sorry, I don't know who you are, but this is one of those little like thread beds, all the snaps snap together to pinch the corners, and then you've got like a little bowl that you can do, and I love the pretty orange fall colors. Same with this one. This was at the table too. It's a little cactus or succulent bag hanger. Oh, cool. This one is labeled The Grateful Needle. Thank you, Grateful Needle. That was really nice. Lori, thank you, Lori. Raquel, the Traveling Viking Mama, made these up. There's a little snowflake board with some felt. Oh, it's an ornament, which is really cute. And then a lip gloss and some peppermints. And I see, looks like a scissor fob in there. She said when she came around that she thought people could use this snowflake for maybe a small finish, and I think that's a great idea. So thanks, Raquel, I really appreciate it. Here is some mystery Christmassy floss from Nancy Green. Thanks, Nancy. And then this was some hand sanitizer and a needle thing, and I don't know who this was from, but I really appreciate it. But I do know who this little frog was from. I think this is from Connie, but I'm not sure. And that's fun. It's fun to have like a little frog charm at the retreat so that you prevent the big frog from coming and getting ya. So, and then this right here is all stuff that was at the table. Oh, well, I lost one. Here's a needle minder. That's a kitty cat by Michelle Lee Quilts. And then this stuff, plus another thing here, are the things that were the retreat gifts from Chantel's 141. So first off, and I should have opened this, sorry about the crinkle, but we all got a sweatshirt, a pullover sweatshirt that says 141 Pep Rally Cross Stitch Retreat 24 with the Christmas lights, because Christmas was the theme of the thing. And then at our table we had a little Michigan sticker, a little book, and a pen so that we could write down some things, a Christmas light pendant that we could light up, and then this right here is like a pattern holder. You put this in the back, and then it's like a little easel. I am struggling right now because it's hard to look through the camera to do something, but yeah, so this goes, and then it like stands like that, and then a pen to write in our little book. And then also, and I can't believe I didn't break into this, but we all had a little thing of Christmassy candy, and it was fun. Did you know that you can buy Christmas candy like early, you know, for events and like Christmas in July? I didn't, but I learned that this weekend. So that was the swag I got at the retreat. Oh, I forgot. I got this one too. And I'm really sorry. This one's not labeled, but there's some stickers and a floss ring. And yeah, that's so cute. So I sat with a friend that I'd met at a previous retreat. Her name is Kim, and Kim does not have like social media that like, you know, is public. She's not a floss tuber, but Kim made me this project bag. Isn't it really cool? And I really want to point out that she matched the patterns at the zipper. She bought this fabric with me specifically in mind because she knows that I like to collect vintage kitchenware, and she made this bag and it turned out fantastic and I love it. You know, here's the back side, same cool dishes and casseroles, and I just can't wait to use this. I know exactly what project I'm going to put in it first. So thanks again, Kim. I love the little eggs. The little eggs in the egg cups crack me up in particular. So there were vendors at the show, and I did purchase some vendor things, mostly bags, and let me show you what I purchased. So I got this little Notions pouch. This is from Farmhouse Needleworks on Etsy. So we've got a thread bed on one side, a little needle keep, and then a zipper for floss. That's cool, the label's right on there, so I'll always remember. And I just thought it was fun to have some fun seasonal colors. Now, I'm not one to match like project bags with the season. So even though this is kind of like a Halloween themed bag, I will be using this for other, you know, seasons just as I have it. I told you before I left that I wanted to get a Michelle Lee Quilts bag, and this is the one I got. Isn't it cute? It's like fruit. I thought this was fun because I've just finished that berry basket this summer, and I've done a lot of like berry themed stitching lately. And so to kind of commemorate 2024 as the year of the berry, I ended up getting this right here. And then I purchased the coordinating thread bed just because it was so cute. And then this one right here I got from Soulful Creations. And it's like, I just couldn't handle how cute the rainbow zip is on this. This is a Tula Pink fabric line. Giraffes in the forest. And then on the back, we have this really cool birds in flight pattern. I love it. So, and then I came home and there was a surprise package waiting for me from someone who's, you know, just a new Flosstube, you know, not a Flosstube friend, but a friend that I met through Flosstube. And she reached out and she asked me my mailing address because she saw something on Etsy that she thought was a cool thing that was one of a kind, and this is what she gave me. I am blown away by how generous everyone in the cross stitch community is. This is so cute. It's the perfect size. I love the fabric. This is by an Etsy seller named Maud and Jane on Etsy, and it shipped you know, directly to my address from my new friend PJ. So thank you so much, PJ. I really appreciate it. Inside the package, there were also some cute stuff. There was, you know, that I'm gonna open in a second just in case there's a note in there, and then some little pieces and some tags. So what a lovely piece of mail to come home to. So I really appreciate it. Thanks again. So I went to the Chantel's 141 shop, and that's the last thing I have in my little pile here. I did not go too crazy because I bought that big board for that project in mind, that I had in mind particularly, but I did get a couple new things that I just think are really gonna be fun to use for finishes in the future. So I got a Bender square, shiplap square, that's what it's called. So it's got a little cutout and then a insert so you can do a really cool square finish with that. I got a riser 2-pack. So there are graduated size, and then there's these little legs that you glue on the back, and you can paint them. I saw these on Nicole Spore's Flosstube channel. She used these when she did a Biscornu stitch along, because you can put like a cute little pillow or a pin cushion on one of these risers, and it creates kind of a cool visual interest. I think it's gonna go really nicely with like my vintage and cross stitch display thing I like to do on my table. And so I'm excited about that. Speaking of vintage, I purchased a new pattern for me. This is by Little Robin Designs. It's called Christmas at Grandma's 3, and it has a Mrs. Claus on ice skates and a Mr. Claus. And then look, it's the ornament that it was inspired by, I guess. Now I have a set of ornaments that belong to my dad, probably from his childhood, that are ice skating Santas and Mrs. Clauses, and that's why I chose these patterns, because they remind me of my family's pattern, you know, ornaments. And so this is going to be a fun one to stitch, and maybe I'll use one of those finishing boards to finish one of these, or, you know, get a second one and make another one. I also purchased this hands-on design kit, and this was a stitch along, and now the pattern's available. It's called Sorry, Can't, I'm Stitching, Bye. And I got the finishing materials for it, which includes the hoop and the finishing board that I can, you know, make it to look like this. I don't know what color I'll paint the hoop, but it'll be cute. And then I just picked up a couple notions because they were at the register and I thought they were really cool to try. I got a set of the size 28 needles, which I thought would be helpful for, you know, smaller projects. One thing I also noticed about these needles is they are shorter, probably by about 1/4 inch compared to my normal needle. So I'm hoping that that'll like help me, you know, when I have a particularly difficult stitching project. And then the last thing I got is from Lady.Creates. It's cherry tomato, and let's just pop this open. Sorry about the crinkling. I'm gonna move away. Okay, how cute is this? So there's some pins on top with a little charm, and then we've got all sorts of little spool doodads wrapped around it in some fun colors. I thought this would be really cute in my little vintage sewing shelf that I have going on in my Pyrex cabinet, where I put Bob and the Mouse and the thing that Zan, my friend, Crazy Band Lady Stitches, gave me. And so this was fun. I really enjoyed all of the retreat presents that I purchased for myself and that people gave me. And I just am so grateful, you know, that I got a chance to spend time with a lot of cross-stitching friends. I want to show you how to make this. So if you ever go to a retreat and you want just a quick little handmade project, I think that this is something that I've really enjoyed giving out. I've made these in different fabric choices for a lot of different events. And so let me see if I can film a little tutorial and add it in here, or maybe make a separate video next. Aren't people kind and generous? I just really, you know, people can just bring themselves to retreats. But when you receive like just a little token, it really helps you remember some of those conversations you've had with people. And I just, you know, what a nice little thing that you can do to make another person feel included. And so thank you all to the cross stitch retreat friends who were so generous and thought of me. I really appreciate it. So let me show you the other cross stitch things I've worked on in the last couple weeks. And there really aren't a lot of new things here, but I just wanted to kind of mark my progress, because part of doing a Flosstube channel is that you get to kind of over time see what you've done. And I think that is probably one of my favorite things about doing this channel. I'm going to start with what I normally start with, which is 324 by Works by ABC. So I am firmly in the blues now, and I'm very excited. I did a bunch of purples. Now this is a project that I'm stitching on a 32 count linen that was kind of a limited edition color by Color and Cotton. I just a couple minutes ago trimmed the end of this fabric so that I have like a square that I can put the whole piece on, because we're getting really close to this corner here. That's going to be right about there. And then I'll have about the same margin on each side of the piece. So that's kind of fun. It's a nice little milestone. I only do one of these little motifs a day, and that is fun for me because it's like a little measurement of progress, and it's not very stressful. I just keep this whole thing out on my work table, and then just every day I look and I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and get that going. I'm so sorry, I'm distracted because there's a traffic jam in my corner. I'm also sitting in this chair weirdly. My cat is napping in the chair right behind me, and I thought that my presence and my chatter would like discourage her from sitting here, but I was wrong. So I did take a little video of her. So here's some cat tax for you. I also worked on my coffee and eggs piece by Artsy Housewife, and I added a little coffee carafe right there. So this is a piece that I have been stitching since I purchased the pattern at StitchCon this past June. I am stitching this on a fabric by Fiber on a Whim called Moonstone. This is 40 count fabric, and I'm stitching over 2 threads, so it's a 20 count piece. I just added this carafe right here. I used a classic Colorworks variegated floss that's called Black Cauldron, I believe. I'll check that and type it if I'm wrong. But when I stitched it, instead of stitching horizontal rows, I ended up stitching vertical stripes because I kind of wanted there to be like a shine effect, like it's made out of like metal, like pewter or, you know, vintagey stuff. So now it's time to move the hoop. I've been working kind of in this bottom quadrant here. So if I go up here, there's a chicken, you know, for the eggs in the coffee and eggs. If I go down here, then I can start working on the lady, Cheryl, you know, with her eggs that she holds aloft, like double-handed. So that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm hoping that this weekend I'm going to, you know, get a couple stitches on that. So let's take a breather. Let's talk about what I've put on my things to do list. So I have put on the first thing, which was finish the night terrarium. Then I want to finish Greetings from the National Parks. I want to finish the Stitching with the Housewives Christmas ornament set from the Pep Rally. And then I want to put a couple stitches in this. So sounds manageable, right? So here's another work in progress that I had set aside for a little bit, and I just brought it back. This is Arctic Animals Stitch Along by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and I can very honestly say now that I am caught up, except I'm not. There is one more clue that was just released this month. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. So I'm only 2 weeks behind, right? And that is going to go right here. But recently I added these puffins. They are so cute. I am really enjoying how this is kind of turning out. I know a lot of people like thought that the labels were kind of like controversial, and some people have chosen to put them there, some people have chosen not to. I like them. I like the pops of color because there are a lot of different shades of white in this piece because we're in the Arctic. This is stitched from a kit from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. The fabric is a 28 count, stitched over 2 threads, dyed by Picture This Plus, and the colorway is called Nocturne. And it's beautiful. It's like a really pretty gray slate blue, you know, and it reminds me of the Arctic. So there we go. So I showed you a lot of the haul from the retreat, but I did get a couple other little cross stitch goodies that I just wanted to show you a little bit of. First off, my Fiberlicious Fabric of the Month subscription arrived, and here we go. It's called Secret Garden. This is a 40 count. You can really see right here. It's almost like, you know what it reminds me of is Alexandrite, where in the lighting, sometimes it looks green and sometimes it looks kind of purple. That's this fabric here. I think this is really cool. And this is also a really nice color for Halloween themed stitching. So I'm happy with this. My subscription is for a 17-inch by 26-inch cut. And I just recently switched over to 40 count from 28 count. And that is the only cross stitch subscription I'm participating in right now. And I just think it's great. I think it's like the perfect pace for getting new fabric. I've used a lot of the fabric, you know, like I used last month to do that night terrarium. And I just think that it really lends itself well to the projects I like to stitch. And so I highly recommend that subscription. I think it's nice and it's a good value too. The other thing that I received in the mail this week were I purchased some felt greenery to finish those Stitching with the Housewives Christmas pieces. And this is what I purchased. I purchased these mistletoe pre-cuts. And then I also, because I just didn't want to have like one little thing in my purchase, I ended up purchasing a bunch of holly leaves and holly berries. And I just think these are going to give me some really good options for finishing those pieces. Now, the finishing kit that came from the retreat had some faux pine needle greenery, like juniper greenery. I just know in the deepest part of my heart that my son is going to like fiddle with it. He's going to try to like pull the little needles out of the floral piece. And so I'm going to use felt because I think it's going to just be easier to store and it's going to look nice. Now what you can do with these, and it's going to maybe be a little maddening with these very thin things, but what you can do is you can fold each of these leaves like vertically, and then you can put a couple little stitches, like create like this little seam, and then that puts a little dimension into the leaf so it looks more like a real leaf. I have plenty of greenery to experiment. We'll see if I get in the weeds with that. So something fun to play with. Now, I am feeling the hankering to start something new. I know, I just showed you a bunch of things, but when they all get finished, it's gonna be like, boom, 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 now what do I do? And so I have gone through my kits that I just organized recently, and the next pattern that I wanna do is this one right here. This is a pattern by Bendy Stitchy. It's called 1844 Lady Man, and it is a reproduction of an 1844 piece that was stitched by the little sister of this gentleman right here. And she wrote, "I'm quite the lady man," about her older brother. And I think that is hilarious. And I think these butterflies are really cool. And I think, you know, it just, I have really been excited about stitching this, and I've had it kitted up for a while. Now, when I recently got the Markup RXP app, I realized that even though this looks like kind of a bigger piece on the design, mostly because there's a lot of stitching over one with the man's face and his hands, yeah, just his face. I thought this was gonna be 8 million stitches, but it's only 6,000 stitches, which is like 3 night terrariums. And a lot of these stitches, particularly on the meadow, are half stitches, and they go in different directions to kind of create like a zigzag pattern. So that's really only like 4,000 stitches, right? I am really excited. I'm gonna start this as soon as I finish one or more of these projects here. I am using the called for DMCs for this. There are also beads to make the buttons on his suit jacket, and I have the Mill Hill beads. And this is the fabric I'm using, which is also the called for fabric. It is a 28 count Milk and Honey by Fiber and the Whim. This is a generous cut. This looks like it's a 1/4 yard. And now that I know it's small, I might use like, I don't know, a 1/4 or half of this cut to make this piece. And then I'll have a really nice neutral I can use some other things for too. So that was a lot of cross stitch. There's not a lot of and this time because I spent the majority of my crafting time with cross stitching. But I am going to clean up. I just got a text message from my husband that he's coming home for lunch in a minute. So I'll probably eat lunch with him. And then when I come back, I want to just give you some updates on some yarn fun, and then we'll wrap things up for the day. So she won the chair fight. And so welcome to my living room coffee table, to a new segment I am calling Building Blocks. And I almost titled the entire video after this because I thought it was so clever. But a lot of my yarn crafts are involving piecing little pieces into big pieces. And so let's start with this. This is my heirloom heirloom quilt cardigan. And right now I am in the process of making the panels for each side of the front, which I just completed. So here is left side, here is right side. And then the remaining squares are going to make the back. And those are going to be arranged in a 5 across and 3 down. And then what I would do is I would seam these to each side. And then I have the base for my cardigan. At that point, I need to try it on, and I need to do some knitting math to decide like how big I want trim, what kind of collar I want. This is very like modular and kind of wigging me out a little bit because I like instructions. But right now it's very easy because all I'm doing is sewing the pieces together. I'm using a mattress stitch. There was a seam allowance built into each of these blocks. I'm happy with how neat this looks. I feel like it looks lumpy on the table, and that is because I have not blocked it. And so I think what I will do before I start knitting the trims is I will block each of these panels individually, and then I'll seam them together. And the block doesn't have to be super aggressive. I just kind of want to like cure any wibble wobbles there. So that's my knitting project for now. My crochet project has also reached an exciting, let's sew a bunch of little things together space. So this is the Wild Rose market bag. I've been working on this for a while, and I've finally finished all of the squares I need to make the body of my bag. Now, this is something that I'm just kind of informally doing as a yarn along with my friend Rebecca from Beck Stitches Everything. And, you know, she picked a beautiful, lovely, like kind of like golden brown color for hers. And now I'm thinking maybe I need a golden brown one too. I probably shouldn't go to the yarn store and look. But this is a Lion brand yarn. It's called 24/7. It's made out of cotton. And so it makes a very sturdy bag, which I regret not bringing to the table. So I'll be right back to show you what it looks like when it's completed. This is what the bag looks like when it's sewn together. So all of the squares get sewn together, and then you go ahead and crochet a handle and, you know, an edging to the top, and you have a bag. So this will be a really cool thing to have done. And I've had a lot of fun having kind of a crochet buddy online, you know, just for support. It's keeping me motivated, which is good. So we got knitting blocks, we got crochet blocks. And then the other thing that I've really been enjoying lately are Lego blocks. And I had to show you this because I am really excited about it. So I collect vintage items, and these flower pots are vintage Hazel Atlas cottage cheese flower pots. Let me explain. So back in the day, grocery stores, sometimes to promote products, would make special packaging that was meant to be saved after the item had been consumed. And so these originally were made by the Hazel Atlas Company. They came in a lot of different colors, and they would have like the product, in this case cottage cheese, inside the glass flower pot. And then they would put like either a foil or a metal lid on the top, and that's how you would pick it up out of the grocery store. People saved these over the years. These are from the 1950s, and I collected them because I like to collect rainbow vintage stuff. And I just had a really exciting thing happen in that I built these Lego succulents. So this is a kit, it's called Succulents, and the kit comes with 9 of these little plants you can build. And then each plant has a little base, and then what you can do is you can connect each plant together. But with the magic of putting paper towel at the bottom of these plant pots, they fit in perfectly. So I am just really excited with that. I'll show you up close, but I've got 8 of them right there. I'll come closer to show you. But they just are really, really cute. And every time I kind of glance over there and look at them, they make my heart really happy. I have another Lego plan that I want to make. This is a set called Tales of the Space Age that I just got at the same time I got the succulents. It's 4 little kind of like 60s style space vignettes, and that'll be my next Lego build. So, building blocks, another thing to add to my to-do list. So here's where they live, and even though Lego didn't intend for me to put them in rainbow order, it worked out that way, and I don't hate it, so they make me really happy. Also, since I'm standing right here, I'll give you a little peek. There's my new tomato, and there's Bobbin waving hi to us. Hey, friends. Well, you might have heard that screen door when I was going through the yarn stuff on the table. That was my husband coming home for lunch. He does that almost every day. It's kind of fun for me. So we had a nice lunch together, and then now I'm ready to come back and wrap up this video. I had so much fun at my retreat. I really hope that if you get the chance to do a retreat, you can join one very soon. I will say that the 141 Pep Rally in 2025, the dates have been set. I believe that they're gonna run September 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, you know, that weekend. And if you wanna sign up for that, I believe that the beginning of this month on the Chantel's 141 website, the ticket information will be out there. It's open to everybody. They told us that the guest designer is someone named Robin Pickens, and I went to Robin Pickens' website. She does cross-stitch design, and she also does quilting, and I'm like, oh no, new best friend alert, because I think her patterns are really, really right up my alley, so I'm very excited about that, and we'll plan to try to sign up for the next year's retreat. I made a big things to do list, and you know, things to do lists are not like deadlines, but they do kind of help me like focus, even though this is a very scattered things to do list. Let's do a quick recap. And I am using a bunch of visual aids because I have a huge mess in my living room ahead of me. So, okay, I mentioned I am very close to finishing the Night Terrarium by Tiny Modernist, so I'm going to try to finish that this weekend. I also, on October 1st, am starting the Halloween Terrarium as part of my stitch along with Redheaded Stitcher, and it was her idea, and I am so appreciative that she included me because I had a lot of fun this summer with the Olympics one. If you would like to join us, follow us on Instagram and use the hashtag TM Halloween Terrarium SAL, stitch along SAL, and I will take a look at what you're working on. I want to see what fabric you chose for this piece. So I also am working on maybe starting a new project. I want to finish 2 projects so they're ready for display. I got to finish that retreat stitching with the Housewives gift that we received, and I also want to finish my Greetings from the National Parks, you know, piece by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery that I started many years ago. I have knitting blocks to sew together. I have crochet blocks to sew together. I have Legos to build and put on display. And I have, you know, cleaning to do and feeding my family and taking my son to therapy and helping my daughter with homework. But that's neither here nor there. So I will have my days very full in the next couple weeks. So, you know, one thing that I haven't mentioned recently, but I will bring up today is that I have a job. I am very, very occasionally a tour guide at a historic home here in Midland, Michigan. The name of the place is the Alden B. Dow Home and Studio. And I'm going to put the website here because if you are interested in mid-century modern architecture or architecture actually pre-mid-century modern, like more like 30s and 40s, I greatly, greatly urge you to book a tour and come see this fantastic house. There are a lot of beautiful architectural specimens in my community that I didn't appreciate until I was an adult, and then I became kind of like a nerd about it. And so if you are like me and you want to come check out this awesome place, yep, check that website out. And, you know, maybe you'll see me if you happen to show up on one of the Saturdays that I work. I only work Saturdays. I don't always give the tours. Sometimes I am at the desk, just kind of making sure things run smoothly. But it has been really a fulfilling thing to kind of take me out of my home, and I get to bring my cross stitch and do it at my lunchtime too. And that's fun. So I hope you have some sunny days ahead. It is another beautiful late September day. I think it's like 80 degrees out. All my windows are open. I am just like soaking in these last couple days before it turns like brown and gray until April of 2025. So I really appreciate you hanging out with me today. I really appreciated meeting some of you at this last retreat, and hope to meet the rest of you in the future at some point if, you know, our paths should collide. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a great week. See you next time, friends. Bye-bye. Hey, I forgot. I mentioned this like 5 times in my video, and I need to address it before I leave. So I want to make a tutorial for the needle books that I gave out at the retreat, but I am going to make that a separate video that'll probably hit in the next week or so. It'll be like a Flosstube extra. I really benefit from tutorials. I really like the bag making tutorials I've seen from Tiger Lily Designs and Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. Jessica, the Sweetwater Stitcher, has done a really cool tutorial on how to use decoupage medium to, you know, finish project boards for cross-stitch display. And actually my friend Rebecca, who I mentioned earlier, recently did one about finishing Mill Hill ornaments, and that's how I'm going to do my needle books. See, she had like 5 or 6 ornaments that she had to finish, and so she finished each one at like a step ahead of the one before it, so that it was kind of like one of those old school cooking shows where the presenter puts the casserole in the oven, and then instead of having to wait for it to be done, they're like, and here's one I made earlier. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make several needle books, and I will just kind of have every step illustrated, and I'm hoping I'll just have like a little 5 or 10 minute, you know, video of how to do this, because they are easy, they are fun, they bring a smile to other people's faces, and I just thought that, you know, if you're looking for a little retreat gift, this is the way to go. So anyway, I'm going to let you go now. It was really nice you could come visit me. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.